All right, good morning. Welcome to Uncle Benny's Creepy Campfire Stories, Project Sludge Report. Continuing. I'm your host, Uncle Benny. Hope you've had a good night's sleep. If you're watching this live or this morning, rest is very important. And, there's Bible say there's no rest for the wicked. And that's really true. But guess what? The wicked don't want you to rest. They don't want you to rest and hope. They don't want you to rest in peace. They want your mind to be anxious. They want you to be anxious for everything, right? And the Messiah said, be anxious for nothing. Be anxious for nothing. Here, let me make a little room over here. Okay. Be anxious for nothing, said Jesus, not his real name. So, I hope you enjoyed the bumper music. It's a little piece I made a while back. As I said 2 days ago, I've been really ill, it's not changed a whole lot. So I've had to make a decision that I can't do these every day. I don't do them every day, but I do them a lot. I've been doing them a lot the last month and a half. But I do put some energy into them, and I'm gonna maybe just do them once or twice a week. Notwithstanding today, I can almost guarantee you it's going to be short, even if I have to cut it short. So, maybe Sunday I'll do something. And, the format's going to change a little bit. I don't really want to go into all, I don't want to spend my energy, spend my energy talking about what this is all about. So today, we're going to frame things a little bit with the word, and we're going to talk a little bit about either poor journalism or, some of the mind control by omission, or, things they don't say, stuff like that. So, let's just get to it, I guess, So let's just talk about this, get this out of the way, okay? I've been saying, if you've watched any of these, and a few people have, that for a while, that I don't know how many are unique viewers or how many are repeat, I don't really, I can't track that very well without, really monitoring this like it's some kind of business, and it's not. My point being is that I've been saying again and again, 30 months, pretty soon it'll be 31. Pretty soon it's going to be 3 years, 36 months, last I counted. And ran on build a wall, Well, the border issue has not just been a problem for the last couple of years. It's been a problem a long time. And interestingly enough, if you saw what happened in Europe, if you know anything about that, well, interesting timing, Interesting timing. And then all of a sudden, just like if you tell a child, oh, no, you can't have that, then they want it more, or whatever. That's just a very simple illustration. All of a sudden, we're going to build a wall, we're going to close the border. And then you get a mad rush. Some of it's likely organic. Somebody hears about this and gets the idea. It's like, if I'm ever going to do it, I need to do it now. And then there's the other side who, it's like maybe how the Sasquatch hunts. One's up the trail behind a tree. The other one's kind of running the prey up the trail to be ambushed by the one that's hidden, So what do I mean by that? I mean, there's once the incentive to get going is there's like the backers, the world want, they'll call them Soros or whatever. They want you to think that this is like the other side, that these are the enemies, that these are, a different, like, what I mean by this. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit low power today. Trump is building a wall, and we've got to stop this crisis, this problem. But then you've got this other group of people who are making the problem worse from behind. Renting the buses, getting the water, doing the marketing. Believe me, there was marketing in Central and South America and elsewhere in the world. It is not just people from Central and South America to get on board, caravan. Remember the caravan? And, or caravans, plural. You know, that ain't cheap. How did that happen? All those miles. Men, women, and children. Get up there to the border. Get on board. Well, again, talk about collusion, you know. You've got, okay, I got to move on from that because for some reason, I'm not able to generate kind of where I'm going with that. Excuse me. So what I've been saying, though, is that he could have stopped this with putting the National Guard on the border and assisting in a real material way the Border Patrol to stop any penetration of the border. You know, remember, with these immigrants comes burdens on the system, comes incredible crime. Oh, you know what? I wish I could pause the video. There's something I wanted to show you. Statistics of crime in about 30 of the many more counties in North Carolina that somebody's been collating and collecting, committed by invaders in the last, not very long, like maybe just a couple years. Again, don't quote me because I will bring it back, come back around to it. And it's unbelievable. It's like 30 some child molestations a month, rapes, among other things. I mean, I'm going by memory here. I need to find that site and show it to you. But, you know, do you think you're going to hear about that in the news? No, because who runs the news? You know, we got to know that. You got to know. My mama told me when I was a boy, when I would get teased or bullied or, you know, you name it, consider the source. Never knew what she meant. Well, what she meant was, you know, maybe that other person, generally a boy, was generally an older boy, was, you know, coming from a really terrible home, poor, you know, and it was true. Looking back, it was true. You know, a lot of times people attack other people or project on other people out of some kind of jealousy. And you may, if that's ever happened to you, sometimes you're like, what are you jealous for? I don't get it. You know, you don't think of yourself as having something so enviable or whatever. But then again, you're not them, and you know, it's just the way it goes with people. But anyway, consider the source. I don't know why I was talking about that now. All right, I'm moving on. So, consider the source, meaning the media. Like, why don't they tell you what do they omit? You know, you have to sometimes endure some alternative, as they call it, alternative media that may help, like even a website or radio program that maybe host other programs that you think are whacked or you don't like, but you'll find it's just like a miner, you know, gets really dirty digging through the dirt, and then they find the jewels, you know, the jewels, the nuggets of gold or truth, you know, jewels, rubies, emeralds, diamonds, you name it. All right. Active duty troops are now just feet away from migrants in Texas. Now, here's the thing. The troops monitor migrants at a Texas facility. One congressman, don't know who it is yet. I skimmed through this, but I don't recall what they said the name. Said they shouldn't be prison guards and are close to breaking the posse comitatus law. Now, if you don't know what that is, it basically means that the U.S. military can't act like policemen. Well, I did not go and research this before I fired up this morning. I will say that it's one thing to be a policeman. Well, it says close to. They're not then, right? You know, why do people do this? You know, a lot of people will, at the water cooler, or if it goes into their little, you know, bag of reasons why to be against, you know, whomever, whatever. Oh, they're breaking posse comitatus. That's not right. They shouldn't do that. They're committing more crimes. You know, it's like, hate those people. Let me tell you something. I I don't know that posse comitatus applies to the military policing people who are here. That they're not citizens. They're just busted in. Hello? Is anybody home? Right? Okay, so let's say that's the case. Well, why does it need to be Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines? What about National Guard? I don't know that we're going to call those guys U.S. troops. I've never heard them called U.S. troops. Now, they've been deployed overseas before like U.S. troops, but I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that, but I'm an odds player. I would go on the side of they're not breaking posse comitatus, and they are, if anything, first of all, let me tell you this. So they're not armed. They're basically just monitoring migrant adults and children from just a few feet away. So what they're doing is they're in this like housing holding facility, okay, in Donna, Texas, and they are continually like standing around and just keeping an eye on things. And if there's any problems, they're basically like living cameras. Now, it used to be that initially it started out one would walk through, check on things about every 15 minutes. Well, now they're there continuously. Wonder why that happened. Okay. They're not permitted to interact with the migrants. Migrants, mind control word. Never forget it. Always say in your head. That should just like go down your throat sideways. Invaders. Okay. Invading an army. An army. Okay. Let me tell you something. That the crimes in North Carolina and only like, I don't know what percentage of the counties, but that's all the ones that the guy could call and confirm all the reports the last X number of months or couple years or whatever, that they were indeed, quote, undocumented people here who did these things. They're raping and pillaging. What is the mentality of invaders, of an invading army? It's rape and pillage. Think about that. Aha. Yeah. Let's solder our circuit boards together and get it flowing. Right? All I know is at first you've got to get mad. Said Howard Beale and Network. Please watch that movie. When you hear these things, you got to get mad. They're raping and pillaging. They're not migrants. I want to tell you a little story. Oh, here we go. So I try to, like I said 2 days ago, I'm not feeling well. I try to keep routine. And it's important sometimes to just get outside and go somewhere in the sunshine and whatever. And I went for a drive. I actually made, an errand out of it. But I went to a nearby city, small city. And it's heavily Latino. Because of manufacturing and many, many years, they advertising for jobs, bringing people up here. Oh, I was in the real estate industry for a while. You should have seen what happened when things collapsed. And, there was tons of these people in houses. And you think they're all here legally? And I know people that work in the manufacturing industry around here. And they told me that they had illegal people working there. It just shake my head. I remember, too, being a realtor at the time, a loan officer coming in to our morning meeting that we had once a week and excited about having loans that no doc loans. What does that mean? It means you don't have to have very much to be signed off on borrowing money for a house. And that happened quite a bit. So what did that mean? And I remember specifically, I don't remember the exact words all of a sudden. I probably do, but I'd have to think about it. Basically was saying that, basically you're undocumented immigrant. Okay. I was appalled. Went up to my broker afterward. I'm saying, this is crazy. So a couple years later, guess what happened when the housing bubble or the economy, 2008, guess what happened? How many houses they just abandoned them. They had no money in them, didn't have to put money down. Just went back to Mexico. And while they're here working, they were sending, or wherever, usually Mexico in that case, and just sending money back home, you know? Living in these houses in these neighborhoods with like 8 freaking cars in the driveway, right? And it gets worse. You leave these houses, and by the time the trash out people, the bank's foreclosed on them, they go to the house, they find they left their dogs in the garage. Dead. How'd they die? Heat, starvation, dehydration. They're abandoned. Just packed up, skipped town, left the house, screw the bank, screw the loan people, screw the neighborhood, and we can't take our pets. Just leave them to die. Now, how many of them ended up dead? I don't know, but it happened. Usually, hopefully, a neighbor would hear something going on. But, it doesn't take that long in certain kinds of weather, for an animal to expire in certain conditions. I didn't mean to bum you out this morning, but it's reality. And we're talking about reality. We're talking about truth. You don't hear about it. You certainly aren't going to get any truth from them. They'll peddle any kind of shit you want to hear, said Howard Beale in the Movie Network, which I keep telling you need to watch, because it's truer today than it ever was. Okay? All right, I guess my motor's getting started a little bit. So anyway, active duty troops are barred from performing law enforcement functions inside the U.S. Okay, and there's good reason for that. Now, however, by the way, side story, you'll see military doing like DUI checkpoints and stuff. That is violation of the U.S. Posse, or the Posse Comitatus Act. But what stopped them before from violating certain laws? In that case, well, it ain't going to make the national news. They're just doing what they want under the radar. But this, there's a lot of attention on the border situation. It's not the role of the U.S. military to be a prison guard. Well, it is when there's an invading army. Okay, it's their role to take prisoners of freaking war. Nobody calls it a war. It's a war on you, my friend, my brothers, my sisters, and your children. Okay, and your wealth, your assets, your future. It's a war on your sense of security down the road when you're a little old lady or a frail man and you're walking down the street and it's gotten that much worse. You get knocked out, take your purse, take your wallet, beat up because you're white even. How about that? Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. Under federal law, the troops can only support law enforcement, said former U.S. defense official, and monitoring migrants is probably a bridge too far. Probably a bridge too far. This guy's, his opinion is being featured here quite strongly. Let's see. Well, anyway, I disagree. I think it's the best thing that the president could do. I said National Guard, but I really don't believe it's a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act if he sent down frickin' tanks and Black Hawk helicopters and sonic weapons and heat weapons and machine gun nests and got on that border and stopped this invasion. Oh, you think they're not armed? Well, they get armed when they're here, and it doesn't matter. An unarmed man can do a lot of damage to an unsuspecting citizen or children. What about the children? They're armed with diseases and bad morals and bad character and bad intent. It's enough. Why? They're not vetted. Who are you? Do you let anybody into your house? Do you just let anybody into your house? No, you don't. Next, when you walk out the door this morning to go to work, or when you come home and lock it behind you, you think about what you're doing. You got a border. You got a border so you're safe. Well, I got to put the disclaimer here for those who can't think straight, who want me to make me a racist. You're wrong, okay? It has nothing to do with what color these people are. Because I don't let somebody in my house because they're white. That's not the reason that somebody is my friend or anybody I would help on the side of the road. What do I care what color they are? Red and yellow, black and white. We are all precious in his sight. Christ died to save the whole world. You and me, brother. You and me, sister. Okay? All right, there you go. All right, so here we go. Let's go on. Doing wellness checks. Okay, there's a lot more I could say, but let's move on. The point is that, this is a toothless effort, and what kind of problems are they having in these facilities that they can't even just wait and walk through 15 minutes to see if there's issues going on? And what do they say here? Let's see, law enforcement. Hang on, there was something. Shoot, there was something here. Okay, unarmed military personnel monitor the migrants for signs of medical distress, possibility for unrest, unusual behavior, and unresponsiveness. Okay, so why did they go from being able to go through 15 minutes, every 15 minutes to they got to be there continuously? That's not good, right? Here's one. If they respond to a fight, said the former official, they're playing a different role than legally permitted. See, there's fighting going on there. Why? Because there's gangs coming up. Gang members, rival gang members, or people who want to leave the gang. How about that? They're people, like I've said before, there are people that are coming with real good intentions, just like there are people with the bad intentions. There are people who are trying to escape gangs. Now, I've looked into this subject quite a bit. There's people that are here that I know if they go back to where they came from, they'd be killed because they defected out of the gang. Anyway, move on. All right. Wall Street Journal, how ransomware attacks are forcing big payments from cities and counties. I've heard of this going on for a while now. So what happens is, if you're not familiar, is that malicious software known as Ryuk, to hack local government, and they will lock up data, and then they'll extort tons of money. So 2 locales recently paid attackers about $132,000 and $462,000, respectively. Now, they talk about the government's paying them, but you know who pays it? The residents. Well, let's look at this a little deeper, okay? Okay. Let's see. Ryuk, quote, was particularly insidious in that it jumped over our firewalls and was able to penetrate our backup servers, says Vidya Kora, president of the Port County Commission, after the county of 110,000 got hit this month. Well, I don't know if they were one that paid, but let me tell you something. This didn't just jump over your firewall, and firewalls aren't your virus protection. Firewalls are not how you defend yourself against malware and things like that. I've had to advise many people whose machines I've had to clean up. I voluntarily just do it. It's like, your machine's messed up. I'll help you out. It's like, stop opening these forwarded emails. Don't click on that picture of a puppy or some patriotic deal. Don't. If you got a friend who's always forwarding you emails, and this particularly, most younger people are on social media, so they see their memes and all this on their phone or whatnot. But, a lot of older people, at least in recent years, are getting forwards, their email. Don't open them. Tell that person, stop sending me this shite. Okay? Because that's how they get in your door. It's like a Trojan horse. You've heard of a Trojan virus? Yeah. Trojanware, right? Look up the story. Here's a gift, this beautiful horse. Inside are all the soldiers. Bring it in the city gates. They open up at night, come out, and take over the city. That's a Trojan. Okay? Particularly in cities that had jumped over our firewall. No, honey. Maybe you, lady. I don't know. Somebody is using their machine for personal emails or other things. On their breaks, even. Let's just be fair. Let's say on their breaks, they're, going on Facebook, opening their email, personal email, and opening up files and attachments that allow this to happen. It's really just that simple. How do I know? I've never had one, I've rarely had any kind of malware. It's not that hard. You don't even have to be very smart. You just have to be a little cautious. Gosh, this day and age, if you don't really understand that you need to kind of not just click on everything and open up everything, and if you do know how to fix it, or just like don't go to your bank sites or anything like that till you run scans and you know, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's just ridiculous because it tells you the level of ding dong. She's president. Now, I don't know her. She may be just ill-informed. This is what she was told to say. And I don't expect everyone to be a tech whiz. But I'm telling you what, you're working on government computers that data was hacked and seized up. You could be extorted for hundreds of thousands of dollars of money. You maybe ought to take a 2-hour sit down with somebody like me and give you some basic skills. Hey, there you go. There's a little business opportunity. I'm too expensive. Forget it. Too expensive. Let's see. Well, yeah, because the most common form of ransomware for about 24% of the attacks in the second quarter this year. So it's a growing problem, apparently. Well, yeah, because they're paying up. Where's the backup of this information? Really? They can lock up all their information? Where's their backups? Where's their backups that is not even attached to the web anywhere? This is just basic common sense. If you've got data that's valuable, that could be wiped out, destroyed, or stolen, or, you know, if somebody steals data and you have a copy, okay, so what? You've got a copy, right? You have to deal maybe with other issues if they've stolen personal information of citizens and things like that, but at least you still can function. Let's see here. There's a little more here yet. I'm just telling you. So let's see. The pattern is now they're going after large enterprises rather than individuals. Let's see. FBI says most ransomware cases in the U.S. aren't publicly reported, and victimized company, you know, they're a little embarrassed. Yeah, you ought to be embarrassed. You hired people who are freaking idiots, and you don't monitor their, you know, they don't have certain rules of how they use their machines. Look, this stuff did not just come floating out of the ether, jump over your firewall and take over because they would be doing it to everyone all the time. Somebody sleeping on the job, effectually, right? Now, there's more to say about this. How do you know, like this makes it sound like it's Russian, right? How do you know these hackers are out of the country? Because that's what they say, that most of them are out of the country. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. Some cybersecurity firms believe the riot perpetrators are a small group operating inside Russia or a country nearby. Really? Where's your evidence? Why Russia? Why is Russia? You know, they really want the Cold War back, except they don't want it as cold. Okay? Or a country nearby, meaning what? Eastern Europe, or to the east of that, one of the Oriental places like North Korea or something, right? So, look, where's the possibility? You know, I'm a spectrum thinker. Possibility is this is just another way of just getting money out of the tax. It's a tax. It's just another way that black ops could be funded. Think about that. Can't get a congressional approval for certain things, but this is one of the avenues, one of the revenue streams where, you know, you think they're all good up there? No. Wicked people. Schemers. Don't be so all I'm saying is don't be so quick to think, because this is mind control, it's propaganda and spend, isn't it? It's mind control. Russia. Bad people. I was raised that way. It was kind of scary. Right? Perps are a small group operating inside Russia or a country nearby. A whole part of the world you're taught to fear. The Iron Curtain. Let me tell you something. That may not be the case at all. We'll know one day. You know, everything done in darkness will come into the light. You better believe it. And these people are going to weep and howl. I'm telling you what. So many lies. They say up, you better think it might be down. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Here, let's not get to that one yet. Now I'm going to take a little break here, and I want to read you something. Psalm 63. I'm going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to talk about it in a minute. O God, thou art my God. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. Now, the word of God is often likened to water. It's the water of life, right? Do we live in a dry and thirsty land? You better believe it. I don't care how many churches you see on a corner. There's a little intersection nearby me that has 3 big churches on the corner. You know, it's kind of funny. I think it's a horrible message to the world. You know, oh, this is a good place. We got a good deal on this land. Let's just build it across the street. You know, what the world thinks of Christianity and the divisions and the choices, let them be damned. Really, that's kind of what they're saying. You know, moving on. To see thy power and thy glory, so as I've seen you in the sanctuary. Because thy loving kindness. Now, I used to always sort of just reinterpret a lot of the King James type of words, but I can't be bothered anymore. Just deal with it, okay? Because thy loving kindness is better than life. My lips shall praise you. His loving kindness is better than life, because once you're dead, you're going to need that loving kindness in the resurrection, because he'll resurrect you to life if your hope is in him and your forgiveness is through his blood in Christ. Thus will I bless you while I live. I will lift up my hands in thy name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness. Man, have you ever eaten like marrow? Butter? Can be really good. And my mouth shall praise you with joyful lips, when I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the night watches. Now, in the night watches, just think about it. When you go to bed and you lie down, are you thinking about the goodness of God and the promises of God and the hope of God? Are you tossing and turning and worrying about tomorrow, rehashing what happened today? Hey, guilty is guilty. I'm guilty, you know. But remember that God has been your help. That's what it continues on to say. Because you have been my help, therefore in the shadow of your wings will I rejoice. You know, we are in the shadow of his wings. Think of a mother hen, or how an eagle covers her nest, you know. My soul follows hard after you, and your right hand upholds me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword. They shall be a portion for foxes. But the king shall rejoice in God, and everyone that swears by him shall glory. But the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped. One day, my friends, the lies are going to stop. They will all be exposed. These people who are liars and dissemble with their lips, they lay up deceit within themselves. They are trying to destroy your soul. What is your soul? It's your mind, your will, and emotions. Mind, will, and emotions. They keep you, can't think clearly through food, bad food, constant distraction, misdirection, fluoride, government educations. Like, this is what the world is. This is what is important to know. What a waste of time, mostly. I'm not saying there aren't good teachers and those kind of things, but, you know, they're pretty much handed a script. Common Core, hello? Anybody home? Those that seek my soul to destroy it. I don't care about you. They don't care about you, okay? But guess what? They shall go into the lower parts of the earth. Lower parts of the earth is hell, man. It's Sheol. Now, I'm not talking necessarily lake of burning fire, but ultimately they'll be consumed, okay? Because they'll be resurrected to eternal death. They won't live. They don't have eternal life. They shall fall by the sword. The sword in this day, in this application, was probably a real sword, but so was the word. The word's a real sword. They'll fall by the word of God. They'll be consumed by a sword that comes out of his mouth, it says, Bible say, you know. When he comes again, they'll be consumed by the brightness of his coming. They'll be consumed by the sword out of his mouth. There should be a portion for foxes. Okay, so moving on. But their lies will be stopped, right? So biological resource, this is a weird story, okay? But it goes on, and what just happened? Okay, here we go. So out there in Phoenix, cooler filled with penises, basically, found in raid of. Now again, this is Matt Drudge report. I'm not saying this isn't news. I don't know how many cities this goes on in the United States, but if it's going on in the United States, what's going on in these other places? Okay. Now you could there's plausible deniability. Again, what am I saying about this? I've pointed out many times. Here's Hollywood news, here's pop culture news. Tarantino, he's the director of Pulp Fiction and all this stuff. It's still a Hollywood, but they make it like celebrities and this kind of stuff. And then there's also like National Enquirer type stories, which is kind of what this is. So, okay, hang on, close all this. All right, this is an unruly little website. Give me a break here, just a minute. Let's get back. I was able to scan it before. All right. I'll just leave that ad up there. I don't need any more problems. Oh, jeepers. Okay. 33 plaintiffs say Biological Resource Center lied to families and treated the deceased. What was I just saying about what's going to happen to these people? Their lives will be stopped. They're going to go in the lower parts of the earth. That's what's happening to these people. Okay? Don't make no mistake. Liars will have their part in the second death. Don't lie. Now, I don't want to get into a whole diatribe on lying because, let's look at it this way. The Lord made chameleons. Sometimes we need to take instruction from nature. Nevertheless, that's not the kind of lying this is it? Okay. Treated the deceased with a lack of dignity or respect. Well, this happens, seems like all the time. A head sewn onto a mismatched body. In the article underneath, it looked like in the link it said it was a woman's head onto a man's body. That almost seems intentional. How can you make that mistake? Okay. A bucket of limbs and a cooler filled with penises are among items found by FBI agents during a raid on the Phoenix body donation business. The now shuttered, for-profit Biological Resource Center specialized in accepting the bodies of people after they had died. In exchange, offering their families free pickup of the bodies. Well, I've never seen where the coroner charges the body, or a funeral home even, doesn't come pick up a body. Anyway, plus the cremated remains of the body parts the company did not sell. Okay, what I was going to say about some plausible deniability. Maybe these were body parts. They're not going to sell, I would not think. There's a market for just a cooler full of penises, okay? I don't think that's on the price list. I don't care what kind of cooler you keep it in. I don't think that's going to really survive to be really studyable. All right? My point is that maybe, just maybe, that was part of well, actually, no. I mean, I'll just actually refute my own trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. How are you going to separate who's who? Well, obviously, they really don't care. Sewing a woman's head onto another body, a man's body. But if you're keeping those parts to cremate and give the remains back to the family, really, you're going to be able to pick out which penis goes to which person? I don't think so. Okay. FBI special agent during a January 2014 the Biological Resource Center stumbled upon what he described as various unsettling scenes. Well, I'll say. The agent's grisly eyewitness account of the raid was recently revealed in a civil lawsuit against the business and its owner, Stephen Gore. Now, this is almost too funny. That's kind of too... is this a real story? When you see stuff like this, by the way, wonder if it's a real story. Remember the art of misdirection. Remember that there are, who knows, there may be a staff of people who are, they've got certain themes and they crank stuff like out this, or they have them in files, just like write a certain kind of an essay or write a certain kind of speech, write an imperative speech, write a persuasive speech. I want you to write a certain kind of article, so they can whip them out, because the art of misdirection to waste your precious time. Now, I hope I'm not doing that here. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just pointing out again, this is not national news, really. It's It's sort of prurient. You know, what is the big attraction here? Obviously, they make it the first thing to get you to click. Cooler filled with male genitalia. Oh, what's that about? You know? Who knows how curious it makes a woman, but it makes a guy cringe, and it's kind of like, what? Better find out about this. Jeepers. You know? Don't want them coming for me. You know? Stephen Gore. Come on. Really? That's like Ellen DeGeneres. Really? That's her real birth name? The woman who sort of like made normalized being a lesbian for everyone. Come on. I'm not buying it. Let's see. Not yet. I'm just saying it's very curious. Just curious. I don't know. It's puzzling evidence. Really wish I could play you a song by the Talking Heads off the album True Stories called Puzzling Evidence. You should go check it out. It's really good. It's really good. Maybe I ought to just run it once and if they suspend my video, they suspend the video. Okay, going on 45 minutes or so here. I better wrap it up. Body parts are being sold for profit to various middlemen. They were not stored, treated, or disposed of with dignity or respect. Okay, I'm not sure if I've said everything I wanted to say about this, but you know, that's if it's going on in this country, excuse me, if it's going on in this country, what goes on in other places, you know? Selling body parts. You don't want to find yourself awake in a bathtub somewhere, you know, with a hole in your back where somebody took out your kidney. Be careful out there. Don't travel alone, women. Seriously. Okay, Marshall Burns, 36, 70, oh yeah. White professor sues black university for racial discrimination. Good. Great. I don't even want to know the details at this point. Just the title. It's a little bit refreshing. Oh, you must be a white supremacist. No, there's a war on white people. There's a war on white men, particularly. You know, and it needs some pushback. It's really just that simple. If you don't know that, you're woefully in the dark. You're woefully oblivious. In fact, you've got cataracts over your eyes of mind control. Okay, you can't see. You can't see. I mean, it goes back even 20, 30 years on television shows. The emasculation of the white father figure. It's horrible. So let's see here. A white professor at a historically black university in Alabama has filed a lawsuit for age and racial discrimination. Yeah, don't be ageist. You know, we have a bigger problem, I believe, because it affects, think about it, it affects every group. Women and men of all flavors of the, you know, ice cream, okay? Red and yellow, black and white. If you're old, you might be discriminated against. Ageism is, again, art of misdirection, right? It's okay to be ageist. You know why? The powers that shouldn't be want the old people to dead. You don't think so? You talk to any old person around and see how medicated they are, and they won't ever be able to get off of them. And, you know, you might say, well, people are living longer than they ever were. No, that's not true, first of all. Secondly, that quality of life has gone way down. And why would they want them dead, Uncle Benny? Because they're robbing Social Security. Okay, that's one thing. All right. Anyway, it's, you know, it's also complicated. It really is. On one hand, it's complicated. On the other hand, it's simple. You know, study to live a quiet life. You know, I've kind of been thinking lately, it's like, you know, the closer you get to people like in big cities and things like that, the more wrangling you've got to do all the time. People the scum that rises top, they want to control and say, you know, let me tell you how to do this and let me show you how to do that. You know, I'm the savior and I've got the solution. Vote for me, right? Just constantly. And it's a team of vipers. I'm in a pit of vipers, you know. Could just be nice to just live so far out in the country that you just don't even have to be affected by the stuff. And, you know, hey, I like to think I've paid some dues. You know, do I have to live through this the rest of my life? Be one thing if you just ran away and you don't want to deal with anything, because the Lord certainly does things to build character. But then there also comes a point where it's like, man, I got to get cleaned up. I got to take a shower. I got to change my clothes. I got to get away from this joint, and that's okay. That's healthy. All right. Claims he denied him the salary he deserves despite his tenure. Well, that may or may not be true. I don't know, but it doesn't seem okay. Yeah, he did say he sued him for racial discrimination. Well, I don't know. I'm not seeing any evidence other than they denied a raise. Here we go. It says teachers of African and Asian descent are earning more than Burns. Well, they'll figure it out. He may have a great case. He may be a good man, and he may be being mistreated. There's your white privilege. Making less than all his colleagues. And it sounds like he's got a lot more experience than probably most of them. Okay. All right, I'm just going to do this and finish really quick. So this guy, it says Epstein, you know a bit about this. He offered $500 million. I'm just going to read it real quick because I want to go and let you go. Let's see, where's the thing about $500 million? Here you go. His lawyers had proposed that Epstein, accused of sexually abusing girls as young as 14, offered his fortune worth over $500 million as collateral in return for his pretrial release. Bible say in Job that Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, all that a man has, he will give for his life. And the two verses or two things from Bible I put there, they're usually going to be in the comments, and they are. The description. So Satan speaks the truth sometimes. You'll see it again and again. That's how men can be blackmailed, easily too, because they aren't faithful unto death. They aren't going to be principled and die for a cause. They give it up because they love their life more than truth. They love their life more than, stuff like that. Okay. One thing I want to add to, and this, you may go flying out of the wagon. I remember, that these 14-year-old girls are all quote unquote victims. Again, it's about looking at the news and not letting them tell you how to feel and think. They've claimed that they were prostitutes and things, but the truth is they might have been. Many of them might have been, or all of them. I don't know. Because they're 14 doesn't mean that's not possible they're prostituting themselves on their own volition. Whether they were smart enough to know or he should be smart enough to do. This is going back, in many cultures, people get married. They're of age of marriage 13 or 14, considered adults. Just because our laws say 16 or 18 before you consent doesn't mean that's the laws of nature or whatever you want to say. But these girls, I'm not victim shaming or saying they aren't victims at all. I don't know. And you don't either. Okay. But the news would have you believe it's almost like he somehow extorted like he's going and picking them up off the playground against their will and stuffing them in a van. No. Okay. That's not how it happened. And if you think any of these girls weren't going along with this willingly, I don't know. I wouldn't be so fast to say that. Okay. Because it's a fact. Women, girls, they can start prostituting themselves pretty early when they understand what's up. Sure, are they influenced by their circumstances and where they came from in poverty and things like this? Are they really mature enough to make that decision? Where are their parents? I don't know. Did he take advantage of them? Yeah, probably. Could they have left at any time? Well, I haven't heard anything where they couldn't. Maybe they couldn't get off an island like at a minute's notice. But I'll tell you, one of the gals, I watched one interview, I forgot her name now, but he sent her over to, allegedly, but that's what her testimony is. He flew her out to somewhere and, like in the Pacific area, like, not Thailand. I don't know, someplace like that, right? I think actually Australia, or New Zealand, something, okay? That area of the world. She went out there. She met a guy kind of more her age. Now, she had been with Epstein for a while. And she fell in love, and she called him, or he called her, checking in on her, because she was supposed to go out there and, and I guess you'd say escort back a girl who was coming to, quote unquote, I would say, work for him. Okay? One of his prospects. Well, she basically said, you know what? I'm staying here. I'm not coming back. I'm leaving you. Who knows? Maybe they had some kind of fallout. Maybe she just got to the age where she wanted to change and started, I've gone through phases as I've reached certain age points, and maybe God-given maturity kicks in. Whatever it is. Did he send somebody after her to take her out? Did he send somebody after her to bring her back and, what do you say, kidnap her? No. The way she described his kind of dismissing, he said something like, have a good life, and hung up. That's pretty callous or whatever, but, maybe he's angry. I don't know. But my point is like, the news wants to tell you that these are all innocent little girls going to Sunday school, that he, this like creepy guy, just went and somehow with witchcraft and beguiled them like the wolf and Little Red Riding Hood. I don't think it's quite that simple. Okay? Is he a creepy guy? Yeah, it seems to be. Is he probably a wicked man? Yeah, seems to be. But the news people are just such liars, and they don't report properly. They wouldn't even dare suggest they wouldn't even dare take a quote. You hear them say, "We're fair and balanced." One of them. That's their theme. That's their theme motto. Yeah, really? Not balanced at all. You never give people the benefit of the doubt. You try them in the media. This guy's already been tried in the media. It really has been. So anyway, that's all I want to say about that. So again, I was hoping for a shorter video. It didn't happen. I'm going to, I may be here on Sunday. I doubt tomorrow. I'm pretty well, what's the word I want to say? I've got some health issues right now. Let me just put it that way. And I need to take care of that. Take it easy. So say a prayer for me. I appreciate it. You make a great day. I hope you got something out of this, enjoyed it. Please, you're welcome to share it. I don't care. And you're also welcome to leave a comment or something. I appreciate that. Somebody's, and don't be afraid to kind of just hit like. You don't have to agree with everything I said just to hit like, but it helps me know you're there, but again, I do it for me. So if nobody ever does, that's fine too. Right. All right. You make a great day.